Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to build a ramp for your smart vacuum. So if you have a sunken living room or other obstacle that you need to build a ramp so your smart vacuum can get to the areas that it needs to get to, especially with the Dreame vacuums. I know that this works with the Dreame X40 and the brand new X50. This will work perfectly because Dreame has this new ramp feature built into the app, and it will go directly to the ramp. It will know where the ramp is, so it doesn't have to hunt and search and take forever like previously. When you have a ramp feature, this knows exactly where it is. This thing is awesome, and today I'm going to show you how to do it. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button if you love projects like this, if you love tech, if you love smart home, and definitely check out my full review of the Dreame X50, X40, X30, whichever one that you have. I will leave links down below for everything that I'm talking about, including all the tools and accessories, all the parts that you will need. So definitely check out the links down below. And for full disclosure, Dreame does send me out demo products so I can check them out for you guys with an honest review, but I do not allow sponsorships on any of my channels. And I love doing projects like this when I find out there's a ramp feature. And now let's go ahead and show you how I built this awesome ramp. Now the parts you need, obviously you can deviate a little bit from what I'm using. It's totally what you might have on hand or what you can find at the local hardware store. Everything that I'm using is from Home Depot, which I will be leaving Home Depot links down below. And if I can find it on Amazon, something similar, I'll be leaving those down below. But for the body of this, for the floor of this, I wanted to make sure it was wide enough and obviously long enough. Wide enough to make sure the vacuum can fit and not fall off the edge, which I eventually added rails to it. I wasn't quite sure if that would work. It did work, adding the rails, and it actually kind of, I think, made it a little bit better and definitely more pleasing to the eye. And the length of it, I wanted to make sure it wasn't too steep. If it was shorter, it would have been steeper. And obviously, you know, the vacuum has to go up and down it, so it can't be super steep, and you don't want it too long because then it will take up too much room. Now, I did have a secondary use for this. I actually have an older dog that's about 15, 16 years old, and she is starting to have issues jumping upstairs. So this is perfect for this. I trained her, put some treats down, and now she can get up and down without jumping on that one step in the sunken living room, which was always hard for her to do. So now with this ramp, Cheryl will be able to use it also. But now back to the parts. You can use plywood if you want to, but I wanted something a little bit nicer, a little bit more finished. I found this project panel that looked like plywood, but was much more finished. It was sanded, looked great, great color. And the size that I got was 3/4 inch, so 3/4 inch thick by 20 inches by 3 feet. So I originally thought when I did my X50 review, I said 2 by 3, which would be 24 inches by 3 feet. But this one is actually only 20 inches wide. And obviously I lost about half an inch on either side because of the railings. And then the length, I kept it exactly 3 feet. And I also found finish 1x3s like the plywood. It was super finished, sanded down, great color. And this was just a 1x3, so it was super thin, but didn't take up too much space. I'll still be able to get it nailed down. It looked great. I didn't have to cut it because it was 36 inches long. It fit the plywood perfectly, and it just worked perfect for my project. Now for the height, I actually used 2x4s. Now these were not finished, but they looked fine. I went with a 2x4 just because it was able to hold up a little bit more than like a 1x3. And the key here is you're gonna have to cut it to length depending on how high your step is. You wanna measure the height of the step. Then you want to hold the piece of plywood and find the angle that you're going to need to cut out of these 2x4s. So hold the piece of plywood at the very top of the platform, of the very top of the step, and then take a angle finder, which I'll leave a link down below to this angle finder. And then you want to scribe that angle onto the top of the 2x4. Remember, the top of the 2x4 is the top of that step. That's the height. And then the bottom of the angle, that's where you want to draw the line, and you want to cut that so it's perfect. And obviously you need two of these 2x4s cut with the angle, and then hold on, you're going to have to put on the railings first. So like I said, I didn't have to measure the railings because it was exactly 36 inches to begin with. And now you want to go ahead and put these railings on with some brad nails if you have a tool. Like I have this Milwaukee brad nailer. It's awesome, but if you don't do projects like this all the time, it's kind of expensive, but I highly recommend that you use brad nails rather than some bigger nails that could split this 1x3. Brad nails, as long as you have enough in there, that will hold this perfectly. And as you can see here, I got a couple of them that kind of shot out the side. I just bend those and break them right off, no big deal. But like I said, I used a bunch of these brad nails, and this thing is rock solid. Now once the railings are on, go ahead and add the feet. You can use normal wood screws for this, very easy to do. And now if you want to, you don't have to, I added some traction tape. I mainly did this for my dog because her paws were slipping. They were a little wet sometimes from being outside, but the vacuum itself is never going to be wet, so it worked great on the plywood. But adding this traction tape added some color to it. Obviously you can get different colors than black, but I think black looked great for this. You just have to measure and cut it and to glue it down. The one that I got already had 3M adhesive on the back of it. You peeled it off and stuck it down. Really easy to do. And you gotta admit, this thing looks awesome. Definitely highly recommend this if you have a Dreame vacuum. Like I said, I know this works with the X40 and the X50. I'm not quite sure about the other ones. You might have to look that up. I'll leave any information that I know about other ones that work with the ramp features down in the description below. And once you have this set up, just put it down, make sure it's even, make sure that top is flush. You don't want any gap there. And then at the bottom, obviously you do have a bump because that is 3/4 of an inch plywood. And yes, these smart vacuums can get up it very easily. 3/4 of an inch is easy for a smart vacuum just to go up, no problems there. Now to set this up in the Dreame app is also very easy. I highly recommend that you set up the ramp feature when you're mapping. You can do it afterwards, it's totally up to you. I tried both, and doing this in the mapping setup was definitely a lot easier. So if you can, do it in the mapping. But like I said, you can do this afterwards. Now, if you have a sunken living room like I do, you do want to place a no-go zone or no-go wall. That way it knows that it shouldn't even try to attempt to get to where it's going to fall off. Obviously, it won't fall off because it has sensors, but by putting that into the map, it knows that it's not even going to attempt to get close to it, and it's going to kind of push it to the area where you're going to put the ramp. And you want to add the ramp, you want to measure it out. Obviously, you can see here in the app, you can see the size of the ramp. You know what size this is, it's 2x3, and you definitely want to test this out where you replace this. I kind of felt like if you moved it over a tad to where it was on top of the step rather than right at the edge, it did a little bit better. But you're gonna have to play with the placement of the ramp inside the map feature, but really wasn't that hard as long as you're doing it during the mapping session. And then you just save everything, test it out. You might have to adjust the no-go wall or the ramp inside the app, but it really wasn't that bad to set up. And now you can tell it to go to a specific room, which on the other side of the ramp, and it'll go straight to the ramp itself. It knows exactly where the ramp is. It won't try to attempt to go down the one step where it couldn't go anyways. It goes directly to the ramp and goes to the room or the area that you want it to clean. So it makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot faster, and it works great as you can see here. And one thing that you might run into is the actual ramp moving. I've noticed when it's going down, it will actually move away from the step, maybe a 1/2 inch, but then when it comes back to go back up it, it's pushing the ramp back the other way. And for the most part, it hasn't really moved. But if you do notice that your ramp is moving, I thought maybe putting some traction pads underneath just so it wouldn't be able to move. And worst case scenario, you can come up with some way to temporarily screw this to the step itself. That way you can unscrew it when you want to clean it. But I really noticed over using this for about 2 months now, at least with my flooring and my vacuum and my ramp, it really doesn't really move that much. And I haven't had to come up with a way to prevent it from moving. But obviously my floor and situation is different than yours. But overall, I've absolutely love this. Absolutely love the Dreame ramp feature. I love that Dreame has come up with this, as I have not seen this feature in any other smart vacuum thus far, even though I'm sure other ones will copy Dreame because this is a must-have. So many people have sunken living rooms. Who knows what the future holds? Maybe we'll have a ramp or some way to get up a whole set of steps in the near future. Who knows? I've seen some stuff on some various websites that look very promising, but for right now, this definitely is a solution for anyone that has a sunk-in living room. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Definitely check out the affiliate links down below if you want any of these parts or tools that I've been using to create this. And I appreciate if you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.